live.
We're live.
Look out.
Good morning. We got a stranger on the screen.
We
Jen.
do.
Look out.
Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Good to see y'all.
You got the agenda. You're ready to go for the pop, right?
Yeah, I got the agenda. Right here.
So awesome. So we were having study action team on this book, Lean in Love.
Oh,
which it was kind of thin, and we started the conversation led somehow to performance reviews, because Sean was talking about managing his time, and it's performance review season everywhere.
Yep.
And then Jen said, "Hey Sean, why don't you jump on the pot?" Like, okay, boom, 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 and here we go. Here we are.
Yes.
Here we are.
Jesse style. That's how we do things.
So Sean, is this your first time live streaming?
Yeah, well, not really. I think I was involved in your first live stream, though. I was behind the camera.
That's right.
I was the awesome,
GBI
super talented guy that, looked at us.
That's right. Yes, he was involved with the very, very first one.
Nice.
Behind the scenes. Now you're
not up front.
Yeah, that's right.
So check it out. We got the chief marketeer, Steve Martin, saying, "Hey now, what's going on, Steve?" And then we got another mega rock star.
Whoop whoop.
Gabriel says, "Good morning from Seattle."
Which means she's up super early too.
Yeah. Good morning, girl. The last time we were talking on the Clubhouse after party, we were talking about the reviews and communication and feedback and this sort of thing. And then the group started talking about performance reviews. Hang on, guys. I got somebody at the door.
Okay, I'll go from there. I'll take it. How about that? Okay. So performance reviews, that came up, but it was more on not just the normal, here's the categories, here's the things, but more personal achievements and more how is it affecting, how are we putting our mental health stuff in there? How are we putting those things that are, our passion projects, things that matter to us, and how is that playing into our performance reviews? And that conversation just kept growing. And then this morning, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit, Sean. This morning we were talking on the study action team, and Sean, you talked about how you are involved in something, and the way it started, or the way you got involved in it and realized that you liked it, was you were in a room and they asked for volunteers, and you just kind of said, "Okay, I'll do it." Can you talk through that story for us?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was one of those weird moments where, you want to do something different, right, with your career, but you really don't know what that is, because you're stuck in the paradigm of just you go to work and you do the thing, right? You don't really have time or make time or even know what's out there, right? And so I was involved in a committee, right, like a safety committee as a superintendent, running work at the time, but I seeked out, that involvement with the group. And at some point they asked, I'd never facilitated any sort of training or anything like that, other than like a toolbox talk on a job. Like that was normal, that was comfortable. But nothing like teaching a class, it's
right.
Different. It's a different feeling. And so they asked at some point, they go, "Hey, we've got this class coming up, safety basics, for the minority-owned business group that the Bear County kind of builds up. Like, is anybody available to teach it?" Mind you, it was like 6 to 8 in the evening and whatnot. And I guess people in that realm were just like, "Oh, that stinks," right? But I'm like, nobody raised their hands. I'm like, "I'll do it." And when I put my hand down, I go, "Why the heck did I do that? Like, I've never done that. I've never sat in front of or delivered a training for 2 hours, right? Ever." But I thought, well, I guess I'll figure it out. Just like being a superintendent, like you get a set of plans. You've never built a water park or whatnot, but you figure it out, right? You go and you figure out what you need to do to get that job done. So I did that, and going into it, very nervous. Never done it before. Thought, what could I possibly? There's no way on earth I'm going to be able to talk for 2 hours on this subject. And about 3/4 of the way, about an hour and 45 in, I realized I'm about halfway through the material, right? I'm like, apparently I can talk to a post for ever, right? So I guess it went well because granted, it's a free gig. However, they asked me to come back and teach again. I've been teaching it for probably close to 10 years now. But each year it gets better, right? It kind of went from very dry to something I felt was really cool. I just taught it again, I think it was last week. And maybe it was this week. It was this week. Time flies when you're having fun. And the funny thing is it led me to kind of what I'm doing now. Like I was a superintendent rental work. That was my jam. And at this point, I'm a lean manager for Turner Construction, right? Those are two very different things. But just putting my hand up that one time started me on a path to get to where I'm going. And so that was kind of that's what got me in. I credit that one hand raising to what I'm doing today, some 10 years later.
So your performance reviews, obviously you report to somebody. Mm-hmm. Is that what you do with that in that conversation?
No.
Why?
No, not at all. Zero. Well, because they don't necessarily, oh man, it's such an opportunity to throw my old supervisor under the bus. And his abandonment, just like you got the door just now. I mean, he abandoned them.
I'm so used.
There's parallels here. We're probably going to get on a tangent, but whatever. I'm going to try to leave that alone.
Do it.
So just like Jesse abandoned us and went to the door, he abandoned me as my supervisor here at Turner. But, I'm going to get over that somehow. Okay, so back to your question. When you asked, how does that go? When I had a supervisor that I was very involved with, AKA Jesse, right? We had robust conversations. Like we had good conversations about what I did and what I needed to work on and whatnot. And we didn't always agree, right? But they were meaty conversations. Since that abandonment has happened, and I have like other supervisors, right? They don't know as well like what I do, so like they're kind of stuck. Like I've got to do this review on you, but I don't necessarily know what you do every second of the day, which is great because they don't micromanage me, and that's a condition of satisfaction, right? So A, that's great. B, I don't get as good of feedback. However, one thing we're doing this time around here is we got to select 2 contributors, like we did. Normally they're assigned, right? This year, 2 of them we got to pick. So I'm curious. I haven't seen the feedback yet. I'll be seeing that within the next, month or 2, whatever it is this month. That should be very interesting because the people I picked were not the fluffy ones. They're people that know me, that I feel know me, that I also feel like I have a relationship that's good enough with them that they'll give me the good and the needs improvement sort of thing to help me grow. And so we'll see how that works. But it's typically like, I don't really know what to do, so I don't know, keep it up, sort of thing. It's difficult. I think it's difficult for managers, though, to really know what each and every employee does and at what level, because they're also doing the job,
I completely agree. And so my question to you is, and I'm going to bring Cabry into the conversation. She just doesn't know it yet. But whose obligation is that? If you have something that you're passionate about and it's not on your here's my prescriptive roles and responsibilities checklist, whose responsibility is it to bring that into that conversation when it comes to our performance reviews and what plays into that and what's important to us? Whose responsibility is that?
Okay, that's a great question. And we got the opportunity to kind of do something with that this year in providing a self-assessment, which in the past, the way they've been brought to me elsewhere, 0 value. Like, couldn't stand it. In this setting, it was a little different. Now, I will also throw myself under the bus in that I didn't turn it in by the due date, but I did see a value in kind of putting all that stuff together. And it's that stuff you do like kind of outside your normal everyday job. And that's what I kind of focused on. I put some of that stuff together in Mural, and I sent my contributors like a Mural link. And I'm like, better late than never, very sad thing to send, right? But nonetheless, I sent it out because I thought, you know what? If they're going to evaluate me, why am I tying their hands behind their back and not giving them the stuff that I do that I think is important, that I make time for throughout the year? Like, I'm not doing my part. So I had that revelation. Like, it hit me like a freaking brick wall. And I thought, no, it is important. Like, I'm not letting them do their job, what's been asked of them, if I don't provide them with this stuff. And it's not, because I always looked at it as, I'm not a showboater. I'm not a, hey, look at me, sort of thing. Even though I'm sharing this live stream with y'all. Hey, look at me, right? But nonetheless, it's just not my style. But once I finally got hit with that, I'm doing them a dislike. Like, they're trying to do their job, for Christ's sake, right? Like, I should help them with that instead of me just sitting back all smug going, yep, you don't know what I do. Right? Like, that's crappy.
That's huge.
So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm very optimistic in how that information will help them better understand and provide better feedback.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Can
I do some shout outs for some people we
got? Yes. And then we'll transition. Yes.
Yeah. So Mr. Adam Hoots says, Sean, hashtag baller.
What's up, Adam?
Buddy caught it. He said, I think you know this person, Jen.
I do. Good morning, Kyle.
Kyle Davis. What's going on, my man? Coming in from Florida. Thomas LeMay.
Everybody up early this morning.
Oh, yeah. And then I got a special shout out from Miss Brandy, my friend in Minnesota. Used to work with her at TD. What's going on, sister?
Nice.
Also, before we transition, I'm going to ask everybody out there in the Omniverse to send positive, enthusiastic, confidence-building vibes to our brothers, Davis and Walker. They are pitching the Next Gen Builders event at College Station today. And so that means it'll be the second iteration of the event that we had at Clemson, coming down to Texas out at College Station. And we're super excited. They got their game face on. They're ready to go, but a little boost is always going to help. So please send them guys some love.
Yes.
Back to you, Jen.
Okay. So I'm not going to give any cheat codes or any what I'm doing right now when it comes to performance evaluations, because that comes tomorrow. And I've got a lot going on inside work and also things that bleed into outside work, which I think is huge and a great conversation. But I do want to call out Cabri, because she is doing some amazing things with mental health. And I can tell just based on the conversation she's having and the things that she is contributing to, that it is important to her. And it's something that she's passionate about. So my question is, Cabri, I would love to get your your comments and your contributions tonight and tomorrow, if possible, on that being such a big part of what you do. And you show up every day and you're a superintendent, which is kind of a big deal too. How much of that, the mental health, is part of your performance evaluations and part of those conversations when you sit down with whoever it is that you report to and talk about? And so again, I'm posing that out there because that's huge. And we're going to talk more about it tomorrow. And Sean just talked about it too, but that's where we're going. And part of it is because the people we're sitting down and having those reviews with, Sean had nailed it. And I know this because I experience it. Sometimes they don't know what we do. And it's our job, in my mind, to make sure that we are communicating those things. It doesn't have to be the micromanaging every little thing, but like, hey, these are big things. And they are also contributing to the work that we do every day. So, okay.
Yes. And so one of the things that came up in that conversation at the after party was exactly that, right? One of the questions is, I'll go to Cabri. Cabri says, it is integral. And she's got tools to share. Woo, watch out. And so that's part of the point, right? Because the performance review thing, for me, I always recognized it to be like the most critical thing that I did as a manager, as a leader, except for when I abandoned people. But like now, there's some frustration, right? Around, well, I only get that interaction with my manager 4 times a year or twice a year or once a year, which I think is a reasonable frustration. On the same note, to Sean's point, is how do we equip them to give me a good evaluation? And like the one I always struggled with is, what are your accomplishments for the last year? It's like, what do you mean? I don't know. But the reality is, to your point, Jen, like Cabri and everyone else out there now, we're doing amazing things throughout the year. We just forget about it, and we end up putting this super small, tiny baby list of the most recent things we did, right? Which ends up in a document in a file. So it's kind of important.
Yes.
And so then it's like, okay, what are some tips and tricks to help us become better advocates for ourselves?
Yes.
Right.
100%.
And also equip the managers and give them some grace in terms of informing them or reminding them about the amazing thing they have right in front of them, which is me.
But it's communication. I mean, and I saw Maya just jumped on. And so again, early on, good morning, Maya. Early on, when she was part of our tribe and, and we were having conversations, good morning, Abigail. She posed a question to the group, specifically to me, on how do I balance and how do I weave my way in and out of my work, which is huge, organizational implementation and all of the stuff, Jesse, you and I do outside of that. How do I weave it? And it was an amazing question, because I know a lot of people struggle with that and like, okay, am I going to get in trouble? Is this going to take away from this? There's a lot of kind of thought, and I addressed it a little bit there. I'll address it more tomorrow. I just ran towards it, and I just communicated everything. And at that point, like, then it was not on me to go, should I be here? Should I not be here? Is someone going to catch me? Like, I couldn't live in that space with everything going on. I had to, like, I'm going to run toward it. I'm going to share and say, here's what we're doing. And then if there was a conversation that needed to happen, we need to happen. And for who I work for, they embraced it and they saw the value in it and know that it's going to help them in the end. But those are conversations like we can't run away from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. So tomorrow we're going to be solving. No, not solving. We're going to be diving in and picking apart, dissecting this performance review evaluation situation from multiple aspects, right? I guess where I know I want to start is, how do I equip my manager to understand like the amazing things I've done? And really it's a regular practice of logging that, right? Because in the moment, because you know what the truth is, even my own self-evaluation, even though I'm going to complain about how underprepared my manager was, I'm going to do mine at the last minute.
Yeah.
Right. And they're doing theirs at the last minute too. Like and Sean, you said it beautifully. They all have jobs to do.
Yes.
We all have jobs to do. So we know how important it is, but it kind of ends up becoming that thing when I have time and we never have time. So when I'm filling it out at the last minute, naturally, I'm only going to reference the things that most recently happened. And because I'm under duress, I can't expand and think out further into the past. But if I have some mechanisms and tools in place, I can house that and then be equipped with like the dictionary of all the awesome things I did, including getting haircuts. I count those.
Well, and I want to give a shout out to you, Jesse, because you gave me kind of a little cheat code early on that I wasn't thinking about, and it has helped me now being able to go back. So you said, and you have an email folder that is like a small wins folder, and that's what I call it. Similar when you get a positive email or referencing something amazing you did, or someone is giving you kudos for something, you throw it in that so that when you're having a moment maybe where you're not having a great day, or like this, you're going back and looking at the things that you've done and the people you've impacted. Like now I have a folder that I can go to, and it could have been 6 months ago, but I'm able to pull some of that conversation. So to me, that was amazing and a great. It helped me.
Good. And that's what we're going to be talking
Yes.
about tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And I'm going to be showcasing my light show here at the command center.
Oh, yes. And you have to have a shirt on. It has to cover your entire torso.
Wi-Fi.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said. Awesome. All right, y'all. So y'all ready for tomorrow? Y'all actually
8 o'clock
are you ready
Central.
for today?
Yes.
Yes?
Then
Good.
tomorrow morning at 8 Central.
8 a.m. Central, and we'll have, you know what? We're going to be testing the LinkedIn audio feature. So we're going to transition and have the after party on LinkedIn
Nice.
audio. Yeah.
Nice.
So I didn't figure out how to set it up, but we'll run that test. We'll see how that goes tomorrow.
Okay.
But we'll be hanging out tomorrow morning. Sean, thank you, my man.
Thank
for being
you so much.
Good seeing y'all.
I'll do it.
Yeah, just showing up and doing it and just not testing us. Thank you so much.
And to the NoBS tribe, appreciate y'all's support. Abigail, Maya, Cabri, Brandy, Thomas, Kyle. Man, that's a lot of people. Adam,
I know.
Buddy, like y'all are awesome. Appreciate it. Go be awesome. Share your smiles with someone and be kind to yourself.
Yes.
And we'll see you mañana in the mañana, baby.
Yes.
Yes. We got to do a